Okay, so we're still in week 3, and I'd like to talk about cell phone service, the textbook question on cell phone service. Okay, so the question says, write a program for Horizon Phones, a provider of cellular phone service. Prompt a user for a maximum monthly values for talk minutes used, how much you're going to use, how many text messages they want to send, and the quantities of or gigabytes of data they want to use, and then recommend the best plan for the customer's needs. So we're going to prompt the user to enter some values for their minutes talked, text messages sent, and the data they're going to use in gigabytes. So we're going to prompt them for those 3 values, and it's just the monthly values. So okay, so we're going to try and work out their plan from that. And then there's a series of plans. The question's quite big, so let's just go through it. There's plan A, okay, which is if a customer needs less than 500 minutes of talk and no text or data. There's plan B, and that's $49 a month. There's plan B, which is when a customer needs fewer than 500 minutes of talk, and any text messages, should accept plan B. Okay, so is that 500 text messages? The question's not quite clear there. A customer needs 500 or more minutes of talk and no data, should accept either plan C or plan for up to 100 text messages at $61, or plan D for 100 text messages or more at $70 a month. So you get up to 100 and 70 and 100 or more. Okay, so you've got different limits. And this customer needs any data, should accept plan E for 2 gigabytes up to 2 gigabytes, or plan F for over 2 gigabytes. So I'm assuming it's unlimited talk and text for these 2 plans. I'm assuming that. Okay, so the question's not very clear on some things. So some of these, often in these questions, you've got to make assumptions, and if you try and just understand the whole question at once, you can become really confused. So we're just going to pull out the bits that we can do, and the bits that we can do straight away are that we can prompt the user to enter their talk minutes, their text messages, and their gigabytes requirements. Okay, so let's do that. And then we'll explore the question further and see if we can slowly pull back the layers and get to a stage where we can answer the question. So public class, cell phone service, public static void main, string, square brackets args, curly brackets. So we're going to declare 3 bits of data. One of them is an integer for talk time, minutes, and these are all per month. I could put per month in the name, and that would be a good thing to do, but it's just more typing to do, so I'll leave it out for now. I'll just put a comment there saying that these are all per month. Int is text messages sent, and the final one is gigabytes of data. Okay, and they're all per month. Okay, so we've got the 3 bits of data that we need to keep track of for each user, and based on the user's inputs for those 3 bits of data, we can hopefully work out a plan that suits them best. Okay, that's the whole idea of the question, the whole reason for it. So we're going to prompt the user for input. So we'll just use a scanner again, good old scanner, import java.util.scanner, semicolon, don't forget your semicolons. We'll declare a scanner object. I generally call mine keyboard, or KB, equals new scanner. So we're declaring a scanner object, and it's going to be for the default input device, which is system.in. Okay, so we want to prompt the user system.out.println to enter those 3 bits of data, and I'm just assuming they're 3 integers. It doesn't actually say whether they're integers or doubles or whatever. It just says to prompt them for the data, so I'm just going to assume they're integers. Okay, if you want to make them doubles or whatever, that's fine as well. System.out.println, enter talk minutes in minutes, and text messages sent, and gigabytes of data per month. And I'll put in brackets here 3 integers. Just make it really clear to the user that we want 3 bits of data. And that's wrapped around onto the next line, so I'll pull that down. Just make it a bit easy to read on the screen. on a video screen, on a tutorial screen, that is. So enter talk time in minutes, text messages sent, and gigabytes of data per month. So we need 3 integer values. We're just telling the user what we need. And we're going to get the talk time in minutes equals, which that's the first value they enter, kb.next int. And then we'll get the text messages sent equals kb. In fact, we've done a few of these questions and we've done them all as enter all the integers at once. Let's do this one so that we're entering the data at different times. Okay, so we'll get the talk time in minutes per month. We'll ask the user for that one, and then we'll get that from the user. Okay, and then we'll do the next prompt, enter text messages sent per month, and get that one from the user. And then that's going to be text messages sent. And then we've got the third prompt there, which is enter gigabytes of data per month. So we've done these inputs before. We've got all the data at once, prompted the user to enter 3 numbers or whatever. And now I'm just doing it individually. Okay. Now ideally, we should be validating all this data as well. We should be making sure they enter a number that's a valid integer, that's a positive number, that's over a certain value and less than a certain value. We haven't done enough Java yet, so we'll do the validations later on in the term. Okay, we're just keeping it simple as we can for now. And gigabytes of data is equal to kb.nextInt. So it's 3 integers coming in. We prompt them to enter the talk time in minutes. Talk time in minutes equals the next integer from the keyboard. And prompt them to enter the text messages sent per month. And that's text messages sent equals the next integer from the keyboard. And prompt them to enter the gigabytes of data per month. And we get the gigabytes of data equals the next integer from the keyboard. Okay, I can delete that. That's not needed. Okay, so we've got our inputs working. Now let's see if we can work out just one plan. Okay, we'll see if we can match up to one plan. Okay, so plan A is when there's a customer who needs fewer than 500 minutes of talk and no text or data. So they've entered 0 for talk, for text, and 0 for data, and less than 500 minutes. We can put them straight on plan A. Okay, so let's just put that down here. So I'm just copying that part of the question down here so we can work on it. So if talk time in minutes is fewer than 500, so it's not less than or equal to, it's fewer than, so it's less than 500. Okay, and text messages sent, text message sent is equal to 0, and the gigabytes of data is equal to 0. Okay, I'll just widen that up a bit. Okay, so if the talk time in minutes is less than 500, this is fewer than 500, so it's not less than or equal to, it's less than 500. And text messages sent is 0, so there's no text and no data, so gigabytes of data equals 0. So if all of those 3 conditions are true, we've got plan A. So we can do a print line, system.out.println, plan A, $49 a month. So I'll just output that just to keep it simple. Okay, plan A. Okay, so we worked out plan A. Let's see if we can work out plan B now. So plan B is a customer who needs fewer than 500 minutes of talk and any text messages. I might just check the textbook for that and make sure I get the right question, not chopped anything off. So here I am looking at the book, and I have got it right. So I'm not missing any text or words. So a customer who needs fewer than 500 minutes of talk and any text messages should accept plan B at $55 a month. Okay, so I'm assuming that means unlimited text messages. Okay, so let's do that one. So we'll grab this from up here, and it's else if. So if talk time is less than 500 and text messages is greater than 0, and gigabytes of data equals 0. I'll assume gigabytes of data equals 0. Holding. It's just cutting off there, so I'll just put it on the next line. Okay, sorry about that. Maybe I could have used shorter words for these variable names. So text minute talk time is less than 500 minutes, and any text messages. So text messages is greater than 0, and I'll assume gigabytes of data equals 0. So it's plan B at $55 a month. So I'm assuming that means unlimited texts. The question's pretty vague, so we just got to make an assumption and move on. Okay, that's B done. Let's have a look at C and D. So C and D come together as a package. So let's grab that down here as well and have a quick look. So I'm copying each one down so we can tackle them individually and sort of divide and conquer. Okay, which is a good way to go. So a customer who needs more than 500 minutes of talk time and no data should accept plan C for up to 100 text messages. So we can work out what plan C here is. Let's grab this one again. So if talk time 500 minutes or more, so it's greater than or equal to 500. Equal to 500. And text messages is less than 100. So up to 100 text messages. It doesn't say up to and including 100 text messages. It says up to 100 text messages. So I'll say less than 100 there, but I would probably, if this is a real application, I would probably go back and clarify, what do you mean there? Do you mean 100 is included or up to 100 as in 99? Just make it clear. And for up to 100, or plan D for that. So I'm assuming there's no data here. Yeah, no data. Okay, so gigabytes of data is 0. And that's plan C. Plan C at $61 a month. Okay, so we've got plan C done. And plan D is the same thing, so it's more than 500 minutes of talk time, but more than 100 text messages, and still no data. Okay, so we can do plan D, so greater than or equal to 100, and data's still 0, and that's plan D at $70 a month. $70 a month. Okay, so we've got plans A, B, C, and D done. Let's have a look at the last ones. There's 2 left to go. Plan D and D, or plan E and F it should be. E and F. Okay, so plan E and F. And that's a customer who needs data. So it doesn't mention any limits here for the talk time or the number of texts. So I'm assuming they're unlimited. When you get onto these expensive plans, I'm assuming they're unlimited text and unlimited talk. Okay, so it's just coming down to how much data you need. So up to 2 gigabytes. Again, I'll assume that means less than 2 gigabytes. Actually, we might make it that we might make it that we assume it's up to 100, including 100. Okay, so we'll make it less than equal to 100 there and greater than 100 there. Okay, so up to 100 means up to and including 100. Up to 2 gigabytes, up to and including 2 gigabytes. Because if I assume it's less than 2 gigabytes, then they can't use 1.99 gigabytes, which seems a bit unfair. But anyway, so we'll assume it means up to and including. So let's grab that. So it's unlimited talk time. Let's do that. So now we don't care what talk time is. We don't care what text messages are. It's all on the gigabytes. So if the gigabytes is less than or equal to 2, okay, then we're plan E at $79 a month, 79, okay. So talk time and texts don't matter anymore. We're on the expensive plan, so they're all unlimited. Talk time and texts are unlimited. It's all in the data now. And the final one is, we could say else if data is greater than or equal to 2, but really this is the only plan we've got left. So if it's none of the other plans, really it's this one. So plan D, and that's $87 a month, 87. So we could probably take out the if there, okay, and that would be a greater than anyway, okay, so plan F is anything else that's left. So it's either one of these plans that falls into A, B, C, or D, or E, or else it's plan F. There's no other plans, so it's got to be plan F if nothing else is satisfied. So let's give that a run. With some errors, systemout.println, system.out.println. got the T and L around the way, print line, and we're looking at line number 26 there, line 26, print line, same there, print line, and there, print line. Easy mistake to make. Okay, click in this window, Control 2 to run. Let's enter our talk time, which is going to be 475 minutes, and we don't need any texts and we don't need any data, so we're straight on plan A. Let's run again, and we've got 475 minutes of talk time, and we've got 75 text messages a month, but no data, and we're on plan B at $55 a month. Okay. So I'm still worried about this part here with plan B, any text messages. I'm starting to think that might be no text messages, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, it's only a question. Let's go and do some testing for C and D, make sure they're working right. So over 500 minutes and less than 100, and over 500 minutes and more than 100. So let's see if we can get plans C and D to come up right. So 300 minutes, 77 text messages and no data. That's plan B. It's over 500 talk minutes, right, yep. 999 talk minutes, 78 and no data, and that's plan C. Yep, that's right. Control 2, 999, 780 text messages and no data, and it's plan D. So that's coming up right. So we're doing those right. And the last ones are the data ones, and it's whether you're having less than 2 gig or else whatever else is left. Something that doesn't satisfy the other if statements. So 1,000 talk time, 1,000 text messages, or 10,000 text messages, and 2 gigabytes of data, and that's plan E. And if we go, and even if we say no talk, no text, and 7 gigabytes of data, it's still plan F. Okay, so it shouldn't matter what we type for those two. If it's all in the gigabytes of data for plan E and plan F. One last test. A huge amount of talk, a huge amount of text, and a huge amount of data, and it's plan F. Okay, so if you're a huge user, you're looking at $87 a month. Okay, so that's that question answered. We've got nothing left to do. We've got all the plans covered. We're prompting the user inputs. Like I said earlier, we're not doing any validations on the inputs. That's going to come later on in the course. We'll look at how to do validations on data. And but that's it for that question. So I've just been thinking about this question some more. And before I leave it, I'd just like to look at a few things. So I noticed that this was still there, so we want to delete that. So it's talk time per month. I didn't want to leave the 3 integers there. That was no point leaving that there. I'm thinking about this stuff here for 100 text messages or more. Okay, so that's definitely greater than equal to, and that's definitely a less than. So up to 100 text messages means less than 100 for this question. Okay, because plan D is the one that has 100 or more. So that's plan D down here. Okay, 100 or more, greater than equal to 100. So that means this up to 2 gigabytes is less than 2. Okay, and this one down here would be greater than equal to 2. Okay, so that worries me because we're entering gigabytes of data as an integer. So that doesn't really work because they get into 1, 0 or 1. As soon as they enter 2, bang, they're on the next plan up. So what I might do is make it so they can enter 1.75 or 1.9. So I might make gigabytes of data. I might make that a double. Okay, so let's make that a double. Double gigabytes of data. So we had to change that to a double there. Okay, and then we're going to make it so it's next double. Next double, and that should be it. Okay, so and that should be all we need to change. So if that's less than 2.0, it's plan E. Otherwise, if it's greater than 2.0, that's a comment, but I'm just making sure the comment's right. We can even take that out. Okay, so let's just test that. So we should be able to enter 1.99 and still be on plan E. So huge amount of talk, huge amount of texts, and 1.99. and that's 79 month. That's plan E. Let's try again with 2. Huge amount of talk, huge amount of texts, and 2.0, and that should be plan F. Plan F. Yep, that's all working great. So I'm much happier with that, making that a double. Okay, so it's important to make sure you get the requirements right. If it says up to 100, you should really, if this is a real problem for a client or for an employer, you should say, what do you mean by 100? Do you mean up to and including 100? Just make that really clear. So ask questions. For tutorial questions, it's not so important. For assignments, it's important. You've got to clarify things for assignments. So ask questions. It's a good thing to do. Explore the problems and flesh things out, and then you can ensure you get the code right. Okay, anyway, that's enough for today. We've answered the question fully. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.